Hi, I'm Jimmy Slonina, the host of Pink's The Truth About Love Tour. But enough about me. I'm here to introduce you to a man who has entertained nearly 1 billion people over his 25-year career as the drummer for Pink. Foreigner, Cher, Billy Idol, Velvet Revolver, Stevie Nicks, and so many other world-class artists that it makes my brain hurt. He is the author of Conquering Life's Stage Fright, and I guarantee you what you are about to experience will change your life. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you my good friend, Mark Schulman.
Hello! What's happening? Okay. I want everybody to stand up. Stand up, we're going to do this. Have a little bit of engagement, take you a little bit into my world. I've been told that this is better than black coffee, so let's try this. And what it is I am going to clap some very basic rhythm, and you are going to answer me with the same rhythm. Okay? It's going to start out very simple. Where it's going to go, we have no idea. Actually, you guys are going to kind of determine for me where it goes. Okay? Everybody got it? First me, then you. Here we go. All right. Shake it off a little bit. All right. There you go. First me, then you. Here we go. I think you guys have earned a band name. I'm going to call you the Metal Tones. Okay. I'm going to literally decipher what it means to rock in your presentation and rock in life, but I'm going to start by playing a little song on drums. What I want you to notice about this, pay specific attention. It's not just what I play, but how I play it. Please work. Okay, my friends, We are specifically going to rock. And rock stands for reading, owning, committing, and knowing. Yeah! Reading. You are paying attention to every single detail. You are pacing yourself and you are reading the audience. Owning means you are owning your mandate, owning your position, owning your expertise, and physically owning the stage. Committing means you are committing to your purpose, to the outcome, and committing to doing the work. And knowing means you know your shit. You're actually capable, and that's what creates absolute certainty. But I got a question for you. How many of you remember the 90s? Yeah. How many of you don't remember the 90s? That's okay too. The 90s is when I had the opportunity to work with Billy Idol. For 7 years I worked with Billy Idol. Any Billy Idol fans say yeah? Yeah! We did some recording, some touring. Actually, the first thing I did with Billy was play the end title theme for the movie Speed. Anybody remember the movie Speed? Some of you probably worked on it, right? You know, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. Then we did some writing, various things. I think the last thing I did with Billy was we did the VH1 Storytellers. Then I got an offer to go on Stevie Nicks, and I want to tour with my girl. But I bring up Billy, because Billy and I had a pretty profound conversation. Just me and Billy writing in my studio, he starts talking about the early days of punk rock. How many punk rock fans say yeah? You know, if you're a real punk rock fan, that ain't good enough. How many punk rock fans say yeah? I hated punk rock. No, really. I was a music student. I thought they couldn't play their instruments. I was a snob. I heard a couple of songs, and I didn't listen to anything else. What the hell was I thinking? A lot of missed opportunity, including the opportunity for that beautiful teenage angst, but like, you know, sort of a latent obsession with punk. But I was talking about punk with Billy. Because for the Billy Idol fans, the devout fans, you know that Billy was one of the original punks. He sang in a band called Generation X. And that's what exposed me to punk. In the early days of punk rock, you know, when the Clash and Sex Pistols broke out of England. So we are talking about those days. And Billy says, you know, mate, I would go on stage and I would sing like it was the last note I might ever sing. And I thought, holy shit. I never thought about my performance that way. This guy's raising the bar. He said, I would sing like my life depended on it. And I thought, holy crap. He had raised the bar for me. I never thought about that. There wasn't that much at stake. But what if there was? And that's what I thought about all day, and I realized what Billy was talking about was paying attention to every single nuance, every single detail. Reading what you are doing. When I'm playing drums, every single note that I play, every drum that I play, where I play it, when I play it, it all makes a difference. Every note matters. When I'm giving a speech, I'm constantly reading myself, pacing myself, reading the audience, paying attention to the details. Every move, every nuance, every bit of body language, every pause matters. So, when I do that beginning exercise with you guys, when I have you clap, I'm reading you. I'm paying attention to your engagement. I'm paying attention to how much attention you are paying, how much attention you have, because you need to read that audience. George was talking about it. It's very critical for you. You notice how George asked questions. You want to know the demographic. Now, I know the demographic. I'm a metal member. But I still want to see how engaged you are. And I often talk to musical audiences actually want to know how gifted they are. You guys kicked ass, by the way. You follow those rhythms incredibly well. I mean, I know there's a lot of musicians and creative people, but it was great. It gave me an insight into you. It's critical that you have a complete understanding of the audience, okay? So I became obsessed with top performance. I wrote this book, Conquering Life Stage Fright, 3 Steps to Top Performance. So I interviewed a whole bunch of people. Tony Hsieh, the CEO for Zappos. Alan Bean, the astronaut from Apollo 12. Jeremy Piven, actor. And I interviewed a lot of world-class athletes because I wanted to find out what they have to say about top performance and that they were endorsing my core concepts. So one of the guys I interviewed, well, he's former Chicago Bears kicker Robbie Gould, the second most accurate kicker in the NFL. I don't know what the fuck the Chicago Bears were thinking, but anyway. But he told me a couple of really profound things. He said, first of all, when I talk to my kicker buddies, they always talk about their past successes. And they're gauging their worth and their value on the past successes. He says, I am only as good as my next kick, not my last kick. And it's a very different mandate. This speech I'm doing today is brand new. I feel the need to always reinvent myself, always make it fresh. Like what George was saying, or no, it was Cameron that was talking about. Like 10%. Every speech I do changes 10% to the point where by the 10th speech, it's actually a different speech. I'm constantly expanding on it. And then Robbie said, you know what, man, I have absolute clarity that that is just who I am. And I thought about that. Because for me, it's not just what I play, it's how I play it. For top performers, it is who we are. I don't play the drums. I am the frickin' drums. I don't give a speech, I am the speech. I own the mother. I own every single nuance of it. I own the stage fully. Look how I'm pacing and using all of the stage so I can get to everybody. I own you. You are mine while I'm here, but I have to constantly earn it. It is really, really critical. Then Robbie said one more thing. He said, I have a different attitude about my success. He said, instead of looking at it like I have to work harder than everybody else, I look at it like I get to be world class. You know, nice little bit of semantics. Now, I had heard this semantics before from my ex-wife, Kelly. And Kelly is still alive, and she's still thriving. And that's in spite of the fact that our entire relationship, she had cancer. To date, she's gone through 84 blood transfusions, 2 courses of chemo, a stem cell transplant, upper body radiation. What else? 2 lung surgeries, heart surgery, and has 3 pacemakers put in her heart. So she rocks off the stage. Now, I stayed with her our entire relationship. I'm not the kind of guy to leave. I saw her through to complete remission. Then we had our emotional differences, we split up, but we're still great friends. So in 1994, she's undergoing her first course of chemotherapy. How many of you have undergone chemotherapy? Only a few of you. How many of you have loved somebody who's undergone chemotherapy? So you know what it feels like. It was wrecking me. She's sick, she's tired, she's depressed, and probably the worst effect for any woman, her hair is falling out in clumps. She's got long, beautiful brunette hair. It's falling out in the shower. It's falling out in the bed. And she was an incredible sport. She just dealt with it. She was so committed to getting well. Her level of commitment to the outcome and understanding, she did all this adjunct therapy, she did everything she could possibly do to commit to being well. Sounds like George is a similar thing. They gave her about a 5% chance of survival. But one day in 1994, in our office, she just loses it. I think it all just catches up to her. She throws down her papers, she starts just screaming and crying, and she runs out the door. Before I can stop her, she's got in the car. She drives away. And I'm sick. You know what it's like. It's horrible to watch anybody go through that. I'm just staring at the door. I can't even work. It's pre-cell phone. I can't call her. So I'm staring at the door for 2 hours. Then the door just bursts open. I don't even recognize the person standing in the door. It's Kelly. She's smiling really big and bright. She's cut her hair really short and dyed it bright blonde. And she looks hot. And she runs up to me and just jumps in my arms, really powerful, really energized. And she said, you know, I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. She said, instead of looking at it like, I have to lose my hair, I decided to look at it like, I get to have a new hairstyle. And from that point on, my friends, I never said the word have to again. My wife Lisa thinks I'm a big pain in the ass because I won't say it. I don't have to, I get to. Why? Because it's not just semantics. It's how we look at what we do, not just what we do. I studied it. Bernard Roth, Stanford professor, comes out with a book called Design Thinking. It's all about the fact that language affects our actions, actions affect our language, and it all affects our performance. And I am all about top performance. And this is just one example. Have to feels like a chore. Get to feels like a choice. I don't have to give a speech. I get to change the world. Because as George was saying, the only reason to ever get up in front of people is because you want to change the fucking world. And I don't say fuck when I do corporate gigs, by the way, just so you know. But I know my demographic. I know what I can get away with. You want to move people to action. You want to commit, and you want to get them to commit. So tell me something you have to do. Yeah, you. Tell me something you have to do. What do you have to do? Just anything.
I got to improve my public speaking skills.
Yeah, well, you get to improve your public speaking. You don't have to. Here's the thing, my friends. I'm a stinking rock and roller. Rock and rollers love to party, right? But partying, it's not in the substance, it's in the mindset. My feeling is, whether it's on or off the stage, it is really about embracing every single one of those damn moments. So I get to play a song for you right now. And this song is actually another medley by a gal that I consider to be the greatest female performer on the history of the planet. So enjoy.
Can't say that word. We better go on to another song instead.
So it's 2014. We are at the Grammys. Actually, we're in the Grammys. I'm on the stage. It's the band, the dancers, the singers. Pink is not on the stage. Pink is 25 feet above the people in the front row. The most expensive, most successful, hopefully the most highly insured people in the business. But I look out in the audience, my friends. There's two Beatles in the audience. There's Paul and there's Ringo. Remember the Grammys 2014 when they performed together? And there I am on stage. I'm looking at Paul and Ringo, and Pink is 25 feet above them, doing aerial ballet, suspended on two ropes, singing live without a net. Hello. And there's Ringo right below her, staring at Ringo, looking at Pink. Pink could fall on Ringo. My life would be over. But Pink is the poster child for the rock acronym. Because talk about reading and paying attention to every little nuance. First of all, we get on stage to speak. I get on stage to play drums. That's one thing. She's 25, 35, sometimes 55 feet above the audience without a net. Now that's like life-threatening shit. That's a whole other gig. She has to pay attention to every little nuance. She has to look down at the audience. Up, she has to pay attention to every single little detail. And she owns her position completely. She owns her expertise. She not only owns the stage, she owns beyond the stage. She goes out into the goddamn audience and owns the entire venue. The old acting trick. I don't talk to you. I talk to the person in the back. I'm trying to own the entire arena. That's what she does. And she is so fully committed to her craft, committed to the outcome. So we usually rehearse on the average 6 weeks. 2 weeks of pre-production, and then 4 weeks of full production. She starts training 6 months out just to get into shape. Because she's not only committed to what she's doing, she's committing to reinventing herself, and she's committed to going beyond and above what she has done on the last tour to create this amazing physicality. And she knows her shit. For a corporate audience, I would say knows her stuff. She's absolutely capable, and she's created that certainty. So how do you know when you know? How do you know when you know? You know because you can actually do it. You've done so much prep, you put in so many hours, particularly when you're going to get on the stage, that you have absolute certainty. And the certainty is what brings us what we are all craving, what we all need on stage and off the stage, which is actual confidence. So I wrote my book, Conquering Life Stage Fright, 3 Steps to Top Performance. The 3 steps are clarity, capability, and confidence. You have to have absolute clarity about your message, about your mandate. Remember, why are you there? What are you going to do? What action are you going to inspire? And then you work your ass off. You clock those 10,000 hours. I remember when I was first speaking and I talked to an agency. Actually, it was Maureen Brooks' Speakers Bureau. And they talked about their main speaker, the guy they hire the most. This guy practices his speech 100 times before he gets on the stage. Because that's what leads you to absolute, unadulterated confidence. So what about stage fright? I got a little story. I played with Foreigner, feels like the first time, for nearly 25 years. And at one point we were on the road, and I was going to the stage. And I started to laugh to myself, and I was like, it's God's big joke that I played Feels Like the First Time about 400 fucking times. But that was a moment of clarity for me because I realized I sucked. I wasn't in top performance. I was feeling nothing. And that was the night I realized I've got to do something. So instead of going to my drums like I normally do, I went out and I got as close to the audience as I possibly could, not like Gene Simmons. And I was looking in everybody's eyes. I was connecting with everybody as much as I could. Because I knew that the chemicals that the body generates for fear and excitement are nearly the same thing. They're flip sides of the same coin. So I was connecting with the audience's excitement. And you know what? The butterflies, they came back. I felt something again. And you know what? That night I kicked ass, and every night after that, because here's the secret about stage fright. It's not about getting rid of it. It's about taming it, harnessing it, using it to your advantage. And another thing I also learned, God damn it, sometimes we just do it in spite of the fear. We just do it in spite of the fear. 2010, I'm on the road with Pink. We're doing the Carnival Tour, which means we're doing stadiums. We're doing between 30,000 and 75,000 people every single night, right? The band comes on the stage. We start by playing this really fast and furious version of I'm Coming On, so you better get this party started. There's 2 cannons, one on either side of the stage. While we're playing, a 50-foot crane is coming over the stage, coming right to the center. Hanging from the crane is a 6-foot box, and we're just playing more fast and more furious. All of a sudden, the cannons go off, and Pink drops out of the box, full speed, and stops just shy of the ground. And all she has on is a little steel belt. And I'm looking at this every night going, ugh, better her than me. Again, that ain't stage fright. That's stinking real fear. That's the real stuff, not the perception of fear. So I had to ask her, after about 6 times of watching this, her name's Alicia. I said, Alicia, come on, tell me, how do you feel? Aren't you scared when you fall out of that box? And she's, every single night, it scares the bejesus out of me. She says, but I do it anyway. And she actually says, you know, that's just who I am, Mark. I'm committed. I'm committed in spite of the frickin' fear. And she says, besides, the moment I touch the ground, the rest of the show is easy. And from that point on, I have actual confidence. Thank you so much, my friends. And I gotta give a special shout out. My rock and roll clothing. Jerry has designed the Sonus line, SONAS.com. It is cruelty-free, organic fibers. And of course, King James has designed the coolest rock and roll, and even not so rock and roll scarves. I just want to give a shout out to the metal guys that are making amazing, amazing art and craft. Thanks so much, everybody. Cheers.